My journey with Dagga Farmacy started in 2020. Yeah, then made some hash, made some bubble hash extraction. That's with the ice and ice water. You sift it through the micron bags. That's how my journey started with them. And then in 2021, Nadia approached me to come and help out his son Seth here in the nursery. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dagga Farmacy has been operating for about 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, and at the time I helped Nadia's son Seth. I was his assistant, helping him. Things was getting expanding, and we were getting bigger at the time, needing more plants for the people. The demand was very high. Yeah, and then just helped Seth, and then I think 2 years later, 2.5 years later, after I came here, we expanded up to the Jazz Farm in Nursery in Joburg, and Nadia's son is now running the nursery there, and I'm basically the main grower here at Dagga Farmacy Paarl. Yeah.
Nice. How many plants do you guys?
A rough estimate. I'm not able to answer that question at the moment because we've had a lot of plants coming in. But roughly out of my head, I would say, to give you a rough estimate, about 1,000 plants is on this yard at the moment. Yeah.
And are they cloned, or do you start from seed?
We start from seed. I'll give you a tour now where the seed starts from, but most of the genetic you see in here is cloned. All the plants you see in here is all cloned and all from a mother. So yeah.
Well, what sort of flavors do you got?
Sure, you've got your apple flavors, you've got your cherry, you've got your sour gassy flavors, you've got that sweet flavors, your ice cream, your gelato flavors, your skunky, your kush aromas. Like, you've got all different flavors. I mean, most guys come in here and they feel like a kid in a candy store. Even the Oaks, it's their first time or their first encounter with a plant, and they want to start off growing. They feel like a kid in a candy store because there's all these names, and you'll check it out now. There's all these names and flavors, and yeah.
It seems like some of the old flavors are not available anymore, like the Transcar ones and that kind of stuff.
I actually have a Transcar here that we pheno hunting. So pheno hunting is where you pop a few seeds of the same strain and we label them ABC as they come up. Like I mentioned, it's the same strain, but there's a few varieties, so they call it phenotypes, and then we hunt through that eventually, and we have to flower it out in order to see which one is the better one, and then we keep the best one. And if there's 2 or 3 out of the lot, we always try to narrow it down to one. But if there's 2 or 3, like I mentioned in the lot, we keep them. But yeah, I've got a Transcar. To get back on the topic of the older genetics, look, in my opinion, one of the older genetics should be your super cheese or your cheese, your skunk number 1. We've got a super cheese. We're also busy hunting through some skunk number 1 seeds that we got gifted through a fellow member. We've also got a whole bunch of land races. We've got the Rooibos, as you know.
You got Rooibos?
Yeah, we've got the Rooibos.
Durban Poison?
Durban Poison we had, but we didn't have a great plant, so we're looking to get some more seeds of the Durban Poison to hunt for a better plant or a stronger plant, so that we can continue years with her and put her on to our initial mother bank or mother list. But yeah.
What are your most popular strains of the new batches?
Of the new batches, it'll always, some of the popular stuff will always be the stuff that's from top seed companies like Square One / Robin Hood Genetics, our Grape Rock Candy, and in that line with that is Astro Grape, the Nanas Cross BBC, Nanas Cross Banana Buttercups, stuff from In-House Genetics, which is always also a seed company, like our Tart Pops, which is an older strain, but it still trends up until today. It's something nice, flavorful smoke. The Slurricane number 6 we have, but the Slurricane 7 is a more popular one. Something else also of In-House Genetics is the Zirple Punch. Then we've got a whole bunch of, I know there's a lot of guys that like Ethos Genetics. He breeds quite nice stuff. We've got the Sweet Insanity from him. We've got a few Mandarin cookies, phenos. Orange Kush cake we have of him. There's a whole bunch of these top seed companies of their genetics which we have.
So you don't do your own genetics, yeah?
We don't crossbreed at all. That we leave for the folks that's willing to play around with that. But it takes years to stabilize a genetic. You can't just cross, let's say, Roybart onto the Transkei.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna take time. You need to hunt for certain traits you want to see in that plant. I mean, if you crossing the Roybart and the Transkei, I'm only seeing what the Transkei grows like and looks like now. But the Roybart I'm quite familiar with. So now I'm looking, I want the redness in the stem like the Roybart as I want in the Transkei. Then I go hunt for that red stems and that. I mean, both of them is sativas, but I hunt for a bigger leaf. Also thin, long leaf, but I hunt for a bigger, broader leaf. It's. I mean, that's what I see. And there's a whole lot of other traits the guys look for, like disease resistant in a strain, pest resistant, the vigor, like how strong the plant grows, and the tolerance to whatever, and to your natural environment and your natural elements. But
which one's good for mold resistance?
It always comes down to our blueberry ash plant. Very good at mold resistance. We've had members say they have the blueberry ash plant next to a plant that's had mildew or that's got mildew, and the plant that's got the mildew just gets worse. But the blueberry ash plant that's next to it, blueberry ash plant for shorten, I call it BHP, just a shortened version of the long name. So the BHP is stood right next to the plant with mildew, no mold at all.
Is that a sativa or an indica?
It's an indica. It's an indica. It's a hash plant.
So it's quite short, sort of stocky.
Yeah, not actually too short, stocky plant. You can see the everything nowadays is hybridized, but you see a lot of I see some sativa traits in the blueberry ash plant. Although it's an indica dominant plant, it knocks you, but she grows rather bushy, eh?
Yeah.
Look, we don't always buy genetics. We always get, most of the time we get gifted through fellow members, members that's part of our club. We get gifted by them. They don't want to go through all that risk of germinating. And we have our SOPs of doing things, I mean, for germination. Nat is very good at germinating seeds. I leave that all up to him. I don't have part in that, so that's all Nat's handwork.
Handy friend to have. And then joining the club, how does that work?
Okay, cool. So it's an easy Google form which you fill in, name, surname, ID, where you live, things like that. But once you filled in that form, that Google form, it gets processed, and then you'll get an email from Dagga Farmacy to say that you're a member. You'll get your member number, and as you've seen outside, everything works on appointment only. So before, you can't just, even though you're a member, you can't just rock up here at the pharmacy wanting to come and get some plants. I mean, everything is appointment based only.
And did you have problems with the coppers in the early days?
Oh, since my time here, I've been here 3-4 years. Nothing.
It's rustig.
Yeah. I mean, we're not. That's why we're on it. Like, we're not flowering. We're making it possible for people through our network to grow their own cannabis, since it's illegal in dealing, and even the customer that's on his way to the dealer to buy some dank, he's also at risk. So we've taken away that. We've taken away the black market. We're basically empowering the people to grow their own medicine at the end of the day, and I see this as medicine. But we don't have any problems with the cops, haven't had in the future, and touch wood, hopefully we don't have any problems.
And how many plants are you able to grow these days at home?
There's no specified amount currently. We're still waiting on that to be published by government, but at the moment there's no established amounts on how much you're allowed to grow. So at the moment, most cannabis enthusiasts since there's no amount,
They're going for it.
Yeah, exactly. They're just going for it. And I agree. Go for it.
There shouldn't be. I mean, leave it up to the individual to decide.
Yeah, like we'll decide. I'll decide how much food and wine I have in my cupboards.
Yeah.
That's for me to decide.
Exactly. Cool. Shall we see what's in the cupboard?
Yeah. You guys can come in.
How many of these these? You must have quite a few of these.
Yeah, we have like 5 of these houses, greenhouses we call it. Yeah.
And how do you make sure that they're female?
Most of these gets tested before we put it out in the nursery, or put it out for adoption on the nursery. So all of these plants is feminized. We've seen it ourselves, we've checked it ourselves. And before working from seed, we obviously work from regular seed. So we sex plants. So we put them through stress to see if it comes out male, or we put them in a flowering cycle for about 2-3 days or a week, and then you see, okay, these sacs or these pistils, which indicates female.
Do you struggle with hermaphrodites at all?
We had complaints, if I can put it this way, of plants hermaphroditing on us. But you know, hermaphroditing is a trait that can be in the genetic. It can be caused through stress. Now there's a lot of factors that goes with plants hermaphroditing. But yeah, I've heard an odd strain here and there hermaphroditing on some of
But buying from a reputable person like your company, you've got less chance of it happening than just with the
100%,
seeds on the street.
because like you're saying there, the chances that it happens, like I said, there was this one case where it happened, and the client actually brought it onto our attention, and now we're aware of that, so we will take that strain off the list. We'll go test it again and see that is this the strain that's doing it, or was the I won't say the fault, but yeah, was something faulty your side? Did you add any stress or whatever the case may be to the plant?
So you got a tough job having to make sure all the strains are up to stream.
Yes, that's one of my biggest headaches, making sure they stay healthy and alive, and refreshing mummies, because I'll show you how big the mummies get. So they actually chow through their nutrients. You need to be quite hands-on with them, but yeah, that's why we refresh plants 3 or 4 times a year, mother plants. I'll show you what a mother banks looks like. That's a bit empty because I'm in the process of refreshing some strains at the moment.
It sounds like business is going really well.
Yeah, we're making it easier for most oaks now. You don't have to go spend thousands of rands on seeds. You can get your plant, already established plant, save money. I mean, you're paying 150 rand for a small plant, and I mean that's a bargain for me, because if let's take it this way, you're harvesting 100 grams off of that plant. What would you pay for 100 grams street value?
Plenty.
Exactly. Okay, so things is not looking too good here.
So, and the bigger ones there, are those you grow them in the ground and then dig them out?
Yeah,
the customer takes them.
No.
Was that
this
hemp?
is my mother plant. So this you'll
that's
see
a mother
always
plant.
looks healthy, fancy. So this is just copies. I have mother tunnels, but this is just copies of my mother's. Yeah, so that can just bulk up on certain strains. So yeah, that is most of my cutting material. Just you can always be healthy and neat here inside. This net house we actually constructed a few weeks ago. Poles we got here in the bush. We employed some of the oaks, the local guys, and they actually went to go get these poles for us. And this is a net structure we put up here. 40% net at the side, 20% on top. Wind gets bad here. So this protective layer, or this shade netting, should be breaking a lot of wind.
It was this hot sun here. The plants must shunt in summer.
Yeah, bro. We're giving the guy oaks on their feet the whole day, watering plants 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
They get dry, and obviously you can think it's very hot in the greenhouses.
Yeah.
Plants dry out quick, and in the smaller pots they tend to dry out very, very quick. And if you're not on top of it, your roots burn. That means your whole plant is going to burn at the end of the day.
So you must have a well point here, I imagine.
Yeah, everything comes from the ground. All the water comes from the ground. Boil. Yeah, yes, everything. We pump the water out of the ground into the tanks.
And how do you make sure that the females don't start flowering?
You'll see all around these LED floodlights. Yeah, we have to keep them.
You're stressing them.
Yeah, we have to keep them in veg.
Yeah, that's how you stay in business.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then it gets transplanted here, like these were freshly transplanted, and it sits here for about a week, and then we carry the ones that are looking healthy, carry it over to the retail greenhouse.
And do you have other people, do you have outlets, or people must just come to the farm or order online?
Order online, or oaks just come to the farm.
And you deliver as well?
Yeah, we do deliveries once a week.
And I guess you're seeing a year-on-year growth in the business?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we started off with 2.5 greenhouses. Now we're sitting on 5 greenhouses and a few net houses. So we're definitely expanding, more plants.
Any export? Do you go send plants overseas or anything like that?
No, just right across the country.
Nice.
Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Free State, Joburg.
Then Syria must be a great climate for growing as well.
Yeah, we grow some nice wheat there that side. The plants also grow really lovely there.
Nice. And the guy who owns this place is a bit of an OG in the game.
And yeah. Now this is one of the OGs in the game.
I must come back and interview him next time.
Yeah.
Sweet, dude. That's perfect.